Last we left our heroes, they were traveling on a journey. To traveling on a. They were. Last we left off our heroes, they had separated for a little bit of some downtime, and after reuniting, they found out that our sorcerer cleric, Tiefling, Quick, had been searching, looking for some clues as to the whereabouts of her missing family, and after a quick jaunt into some underground tunnels, found her wife, utilizing some new magical powers that she didn't have previously, and terrified. And she ran. She disappeared and ran away. And so, Quick, low on supplies, decided to head back to Waterdeep, meet back up with the group, and to go back to that cave system to try and find out where her wife ran off to. So they journeyed for about 2 weeks, making a stop in the Ardeep Woods to have a conversation with Harvey Birdman Whoosh, our Aarakocra Rogue's mother. And after dealing with that, they make their way to the outskirts of the Misty Forest, which is where this cave system was. And the first thing, like the entire forest is covered in this mist, obviously. Um, and so Quick sends in her familiar because she took I think the magic initiative initiative magic initiative. She's got herself a pseudo dragon, and she sent Quest her pseudo dragon inside. And shortly after he fell unconscious, Quick bamfed him back with her familiar abilities, and then a trial and error sequence continued. Harvey Birdman Whoosh tried to use his Aarakocra wings to blow away the mist. It didn't work for obvious reasons. Quick tried a destroy water and was able to make part of the mist disappear in a 30-foot cube, but then that's not a cantrip, it's a spell slot. And so if she wanted to do that the entire time, she'd have to burn through a lot of spells. Eventually, after much debate, the idea was thrown around of trying to find another way, not through the forest, to another cave system. I had Quick roll a history check, but she didn't really get that high on it, and I said that she just wasn't quite sure of any other cave systems in the area, especially ones that would go as further down as these ones did. Eventually, they decided they're just going to put bandanas around their faces and just see what happens. And so they go in, and partially because of a very low survival check, they decided to. They got a little bit lost in the woods, and after a couple of hours walking around, they take a 5d8 of. It's not damage per se, but they all begin to feel more haggard and more tired. And eventually, though, they do hear some noises, and they are attacked by these. The players called them Ratmen. Not exactly. They're more like were rats, but for the longest time, for some reason, we just kept on calling them. They're Ratmen. They're Ratman. They're a bunch of Ratmen. They got little rat teeth, and yeah, a bunch of there are about 3 were rats that attack the party. And the were rats attempt to bite the characters, but they all succeeded on the Constitution saving throws, so nothing bad happened to them. Eventually, they're able to defeat these were rats, and then after that, possibly drawn by the commotion, some will-o-wisps, these undead balls of energy, come over to the party. And the party at this point realizes maybe we should just book it. Maybe we should just get the fudge out of here. And so they do. They eventually run away. And Quick is able to kind of remember where exactly the entrance to this cave system was, and so they run and they travel that over there. The cave system. So there's this island that's basically like this kind of little lake, and then in the middle there's this little land mass, and that is where the cave system begins. And so Quick dives into the water to swim over across to the landmass, completely ignoring the fact that there was a perfectly good dinghy and boat docked right there. So the other players, the Aarakocra obviously flies across, the other players get into the boat and move across, and that is when Quick meets the gaze of this sea hag. It's just wrinkled, just blue skin, this really mossy, kind of stringy green hair, these like sick yellow eyes that are just look like they're like crust and mold and like barnacles inside of her. And they get attacked by the sea hag. And this is actually probably the most interesting aspect, is that Harvey Birdman Whoosh delivers the final killing blow on this sea hag, which, according to the deal with Asmodeus, Lord old Cloven, old Hoof and Hove, old devil man, devil daddy, Asmodeus, Harvey is to deliver 100 souls to the Nine House, and the only way it counts is if he's the one to deliver the killing blow. And so this is the first of 100 souls that he's been able to deliver. He releases this arrow right through this sea hag's eye. It crumples, and the brand on his forearm that reads the number 100, the devil's mark, begins to twist and form. It's like his skin is being teared and pulled. It's actually really horrifying, but turns into the number 99. So it's taken canonically in game time, over a month for him to deliver one soul to the Nine Hells. So his arm has actually begun to rot, because you don't make a deal with the Lord of the Nine Hells and take your sweet ass time delivering on said promise. But they kill the sea hag, they reach the landmass, and that is where our session ends, them about to enter into the Underdark. This was a very fun session. I was curious how the players were going to deal with. It was basically this mist had the properties of a sleep spell. That was the idea, is that if they were going to go in on just completely breathing freely, the damage would be they'd take the damage more frequently. But just going in and using the kind of the breathing apparatuses and like kind of blocking some of the intake, I had them just take the whole 5d8 over the course. I had all of them take the 5d8, and that was over the course of their journey, of them getting lost, especially since they rolled low on the survival check. If they'd rolled a little bit higher in the survival check, maybe that damage would have been done differently. But it all kind of worked out on my perspective of kind of how I wanted this to go. I wanted them to lose some, sleep spell, were rats, will-o-wisp, sea hag. I wanted it to be very much like, it's good. The hits are going to keep coming, and this is going to be, I want resource management and trying to get through, and maybe just thinking about how you're solving your problems. And there are a lot of interesting. There's a lot of Quick has been using her haste abilities, and Bryn, our life cleric, who just recently multiclassed into monk, has been using more of the monk abilities. And so there's been a lot of good resource management that's been happening. And so I've been having to create new and inventive ways to try to really use those resources so that it's just more fun and more challenging. But I didn't really have an idea about how they would dispel. Obviously, I was like, if you use dispel magic, like, you'll dispel the spell. But I don't think any of them have that prepared or have that yet. And so when Quick brought up the shore water, I'm like, well, it is a mist. It's not the spell, because the spell has a casting time. It has, this is more of like a concoction. And so it is still a literal mist. And so I thought that was a very inventive idea, except just with the text of the spell, there was no way they were going to travel into these woods and keep on creating and destroying water basically. And it only does it in a 30-foot cube, so that just wasn't in the long run really going to be able to work. So it was interesting though, just hearing all the different ideas that my players came up with of just how they could fix this or how they could go around it. But sometimes the best answer is just to run in and run for it. I mean, there are problems. A Dispel Magic could have worked. Maybe if they had some sort of Gust cantrip or something like that, possibly that could have worked. So there were other options. I didn't want the only option for them to be, okay, we'll just take the damage and see what happens. Because also, that was the interesting thing is, like, you lose this many hit points, but you're not hurt. You're not, like, wounded, you know? You just feel haggard and you feel tired and you feel, like, heavier and restless. Or, restless, restful? I don't know. So that was interesting. And then I just loved the encounters. I really enjoy the were-rats, and I was hoping that someone would just roll really low, and I'm really interested in were-rat. Is it still lycanthropy when it's lycanthropy? I don't know, were-rats and stuff. So yeah, I really wanted someone to contract that. I knew it probably wasn't going to happen because the DC is like an 11, but you never know. Someone might roll really low, and I was hoping for that, but that just would have been a dumb fun thing for me. The Will-O-Wisp was interesting. It was more so just because of the fact that, like, trying to get their AC was 19 and all their immunities. That was more so just like, this is going to be a little bit just letting the players know that it's not just a one and done thing. This isn't just you faced one creature and you're done. Like, this whole forest is dangerous, and so you guys need to get where you're going, or else it's going to turn into like a death march situation. The longer that you're in here, the more things are going to come out of the woodwork to attack you. And then ending, I wasn't sure if we were going to get to the Sea Hag by the end of the session, but that was also fun just because of the descriptions and the different type of battle that it was, since it was, the Sea Hag was in the water, and them having, half the party on a boat was just interesting and different. And so that was fun. And then also Harvey getting to finally deliver a soul to the Nine Hells. It's been fun for me to kind of, it's also been kind of a running gag of how he hasn't been able to deliver any of them, but also it's been fun for me as a DM to play with that pact and play with that deal. 100 souls is a big deal, especially with the soul coins, and it's been over a month. You don't make a deal with the devil and then take your time, and so it's just been fun trying to figure out what the consequences, and just the slow rotting of his arm has been very interesting. And I think depending on how the Underdark stuff goes, depending on how quickly he's able to kill creatures and send them to the Underdark, we might be seeing more of that consequences of his patience. So that'll be very fun and very interesting. I'm very excited about the things that my players do. They give me a lot to work with, so it's very fun. And I am so excited to get into the Underdark. I have a lot of plans and ideas for what my version of the Underdark is. It's still my version of Underdark society and culture, and like what's currently going on in the Underdark now. And so it'll be very fun, and I'm very interested to see where this story goes of the search for Quick's family, who are somewhere in the Underdark, and just all the crazy fun creatures and things, and it's gonna be a good time. I'm very excited. I love the Underdark, and I love that Underdark society, Underdark creatures and monsters and Illithid and Drow and all of that stuff. So I'm very excited, very, very excited. But that's been the campaign diary. Not really like a super. This was more of like a intense, like, mentally, I think, session. Just puzzles and, the sleep soak puzzle, which really the answer was just run. That wasn't the only answer though. And then just playing with different types of encounters, and uh, my players have been really surprised me with their how they think and their resourcefulness, and so it's just fun to come up with things to test them. So yeah, I will see you guys on the next one. I'm starting like new job stuff and everything, so my schedule is going to be a little bit more erratic. So might not be the same weekly game, but I really hope so, because I really want to, because I have a lot of fun making this game happen. But that's all I've got for you. I will see you later.